asked about what should people talk about, what I think what should be discussed or what should they
Yeah.
put out first, and you listed a whole lot of stuff on that poll. And I
Mm.
think if I find the poll, if I
Yeah.
find that poll, I'm going to jump on it. But and I would like to know because everything you listed here are weighty allegations,
Mm-hmm.
right? I don't know. Probably you for you to bring out such things to the public, definitely you have seen things that have made you bring out those stuff, right? Now,
Yeah.
now I
Yeah.
will. I think what which of those questions won the poll that day first, please?
It was the spending about 30 billion on a school.
Okay, on a school,
Construction. Yes, on a school. On a
on
school.
just one school, or on schools.
Okay, so it's a complex, right? It's a complex in the Jeremy area, right? And there are a number of school blocks there. Now, yeah, so that's a number of school blocks. So we're talking about between five blocks or so. Hello? Are you
Yeah,
there?
yeah, yeah. We lost you for a few seconds. Well, go on, please.
Yeah, I said about 5 blocks are in the complex.
Oh, 5 blocks in a complex, and the government budgeted or has spent, or if you please, just
Yeah, they budgeted.
just
They've made an allocation for 30. I think it was about 30 billion. About 30 billion.
yeah. If you, I would just love you to
I have
shed
to
more light
find it.
on that particular listing. Let's.
Okay, so the reason why you see, um, so we get all these documents. There are people in the government that leak these documents to us. Sometimes we have people that just get us these documents because they publish it and then they take it down, right? And I guess they have to publish it maybe because of loans or they're trying to meet certain requirements for people that give them money. I cannot speak confidently to why they publish it, but they take it down very quickly. If you recall, I think it was last year, I talked about how Babajide Sanwo-Olu took 200 million to fund his personal legal bills, right? And we published that. And then also, Mr. Funsho Doherty talked about how they spent 2 billion on fans, right? So it's documents like that that you get access to and you can speak to. Now, you also know that there's some things that are very straight to the point. So you see 1.2 billion spent in a month flying private, right? Which is one thing that I highlighted. It's just straightforward. 1.2 billion spent to flying helicopters, private jets. There isn't really a debate. 475 million spent to buy jeeps. There isn't a debate. Now you see, with this school, right, it's deeper. So I'm in construction, so maybe that's also why I'm sensitive about it because when you go there, there are different lots. There's lot F, lot E, and you see some work going on. So I had my QS go there to estimate the amount of work and the value, and if that value meets these numbers that they are calling, right? And for me, coming on Twitter and trying to put a bill of quantities to say this, I would have done it for 500 million as opposed to this amount. Is a long thing, right? So that's why I've not talked about it yet. We're still compiling. We've compiled all, done BOQs and all of that. There are even some lots that have been budgeted for, but they don't exist in that complex. But the main things that I published were about the vehicles that were purchased, and then the 1.2 billion being spent on flying private jets, right? And then there were, I think, some two other things.
I'm seeing it right now before me. Yeah. Good. Big shout out to your PR guy, GRV PR. He just sent it to me. 1.7 billion
Okay.
spent on private jets in a year.
Yeah. No, not even, that was not even a year. It was like a month when you look at it, like when you look at numbers. But yeah, go ahead.
50 billion road design consult.
Oh yes, we published that as well. Yeah, we published that because that so they to design. So to design the bus corridors, I think you were seeing budgets of like 3 billion. I mean, to design bus corridors. When I was in school, government, I worked in China for a couple of months because the Chinese government with Tsinghua University, the top university, partnered with MIT to say, okay, bring your students, let's have some innovative ideas and design parts of the city, right? And you do that you get good innovation, good designs for a fraction of the price, right? And you have the possibility of, cross training with different people and having your institutions also build that relationship. So to hear that you're spending so much money to design bus routes and layouts is, especially when you don't have this money, it's really really problematic to my mind.
One of them again. Let me read this one. 100 million naira paid for 20 million naira cars. If you can expatiate on that,
But
please. That one is
yeah. There was that. So the budget, but then there was some funny thing with that number. So we're still looking at it. So I've not yet put that one out there. But we put out the consultants, the flying private jets, and the jeeps. 400 and something million. They used to buy jeeps again
okay. I think I'll just.
for the office of chief of staff.
All right. I think I will just for myself. I will just pass on the mic to my co-host. Probably they could engage you further. But I would like to know your thoughts on the demolition going on in Lagos right now. Because for myself, I've been running a campaign for the past. I don't know if the
Hmm.
campaign is good. I know you not like it, but it's my own campaign. I've been saying, do not invest in Lagos because honestly speaking,
Hmm.
right now, um, I have people that I know that have lost their properties in Lagos,
Mm-hmm.
that bought it, that legitimate had in money, and in diaspora here and back home now they have nothing. So it is crazy to see people's hard work go down the drain just like that, without compensation, without even pro notice and information. So I don't know. I really want to know your thoughts on the demolition going on right now, currently in Lagos. What you think about
Yeah.
it, and if possible, do you think this my advice of do not invest in Lagos is the right way to go? But go on, please.
Obviously, I'm biased, right? I love Lagos dearly, and I don't want to see Lagos become like Warri or Delta State. If you know the history of what happened when people started being hostile to investors and people that came from outside that were developing Delta State, Warri, everybody just pulled back, right? And they've been struggling since. So I don't want to see that happen in Lagos. But also, I don't even think it's something that you need to campaign. Even me, if I was going to buy a flat for investment or buy a house for investment, I've calmed down. No, I'd rather hold on to my money because you are still a government that is complicit. The government is complicit in a house being built that they call illegal, and then they come and destroy that building without any consequences on their own complicity. They're not even acknowledging that they are part of the criminal enterprise if they are calling this building illegal, right? And that is a very big problem for me. You have it was in the news that they're talking about how most of the buildings in Bejuleki don't have permits. I'm talking about an entire estate. So if you've built a building before, you'll know that you first publish all the things that you need to even get planning permission. Then the process, right? From your foundation, the government sends representatives to your site. At decking, they send representatives to your site to check and make sure that you are following planning permission. So if a building was able to get to roof level, that means it was done with the approval of the government or their representatives. So they were either negligent or they were corrupt or they gave out illegal planning permissions, but they were part and parcel of that process. So for me, I feel that right now in Lagos, this is the time to be wary about investing in buildings because, first of all, There is no grand plan that is public knowledge. Tomorrow, they're talking about waterways and canals flowing, right? And they're destroying buildings that they claim are on the right of way. Then the very next day, which was today or 2 days ago, I saw that Lagos City is talking about how they're going to sandfill several more islands, right? Anytime an island or sandfilling happens, one, water is displaced that starts to flood indigenous communities and communities all across the state because water must go somewhere. So, what is the environmental impact assessment that has been done? What solutions have been done to the Kwe Alpha communities or even parts of Ikorodu that are flooding because of Eco Atlantic, right? You have a situation where most of this sand filling that happens because it's such an expensive process. The buildings that are on there really are for the wealthy and people that can afford to pay those kind of high rents, which are the minority of Lagos, right? Because you find that I was saying today that 75 to 80% of Lagosians don't earn up to 1.2 million naira in a year. So if the government is actually very serious about housing, right, then they should do targeted housing that is financially accessible to the majority of people that live in Lagos. It's not just your friend wants to sandfill, he knows the governor, so he is okay for him to sandfill. You don't care that Ilubirin is stopping the drainage of water coming out of Lagos Island, right? But then you're going to go and destroy somebody's house who the fence, is parallel to a lagoon or a right of way that you should have channeled over 20 years ago, but you're just trying to get around to channeling now, right? So, but when it comes down to the actual act of the demolition, I feel that more than anything, if the government can acknowledge that it is complicit in this problem, then their approach must be different. The approach must be one that says, okay, we've messed up, we know we've messed up, but this thing we're trying to do is in the larger interest of our vision for Lagos, which is create a flood free or flood resistant state. Okay, we acknowledge that. We acknowledge that we're part and parcel of this building getting up to the roof, either directly or indirectly. We acknowledge that. So, the way we engage you is going to be one, a robust transition system, whether it's having housing units or apartments that people can stay in for a couple of months before they get on their feet again, having a psychologist and a whole medical personnel that come to talk you through this and literally hold your hand through this process. Because there are people that have collapsed, there are people that have gotten strokes. I've heard so many stories. I've met people that told me, this my neighbor has died though because of this thing. They literally saw their entire life savings just go down in a country where there is no mortgage, in a country where there is no insurance, in a country where you have to gather all this money to pay for this house. Where are they going to do that from again? And Nigerians have this notion that you must own your house. Like you have not really made it in life if you are not the owner of your house. So they go to great lengths to be able to achieve that. You have a lot of these people that have retired. So where are they going to start from again to start picking themselves up? So there must be that robust psychological health part of it that's going to monitor you, make sure they walk you through this and check on you, right? And then you also come with like a moving van, people that will help them pack out of the building. So you create a process that shows that I recognize your distress. I recognize that this thing is really messed up for you. So because we have designed this thing to minimize the amount of damage and destruction we need to do, and we designed it efficiently, let us now transition you guys at least in 3 months' time. Let's see how we can get you back on your feet and also talk about compensation as well, right? So I feel that it has to be a lot more humane, even as little things as there are many buildings that are, even public buildings that are not in use. There is no harm if the government converted temporarily to storage spaces. Because as you're moving people out, a lot of people don't have places to put their things. They literally are starting afresh again. So is there a temporary place where they can keep their things that's owned by the government because the government recognizes that they have a responsibility to these people, right? Because whether you like it or not, you have instances where the government has been collecting ground rent and tenement rent from these people, land use charge. And you find that these people also paid some government or some official for whether it's a global CFO, a deed of assignment, some kind of documentation. Nobody goes to go and build a whole house in this Lagos state, right? Without any form of paperwork, whether they were scammed, whether somebody scammed them, that also should be for the government to reflect on the process of planning approvals, on process um, of oversight, on the entire process of getting the built environment to fit with their own plan. And that plan must be made public. It's not okay for you to say, oh, my friends can sandfill in this area, or government can sandfill in this area, or government can rent property in buildings that are directly sitting on a canal and contravening the plan. But then you might not be able to fight the government, you are the one that your house is going to be destroyed. That's not okay. And the government must take that responsibility and act with a lot more empathy. I think that's my position on the demolitions that are happening in Lagos State.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much, GRV. This is well meaning. I mean, this like, I think Salam actually took the conversation where I would have taken it. So I don't think like, I just want to emphasize something you said not too long ago, which was uh, the fact that, you look at this and you can just tell that problem they are trying to prevent is
Well,
what.
Nigeria, we lost you for like 30 seconds.
Okay, but can you hear me now?
We'll just start afresh. But before you start afresh, please, guys, please,
Yeah.
on the platform we are trending, Tinubu has failed in security. Please, everybody on the platform, make multiple tweets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tweets with the hashtag. The hashtag is on the jumbotron, so that in case it is you don't understand the hashtag, it's up on the jumbotron. Let's trend. Tinubu has failed in security. It's very, very important that while we're having these conversations, this gets on the trend map. Hopefully tomorrow morning, if just for anything, Arise can come out and they are what's trending, they'll talk about it and highlight the insecurity failure of this government. If we don't do this work, nobody will do it for us. Thank you. Well, Nigeria, please go on.
Yeah. So before I pass by, I don't know if NCs would want to engage, or I mean those of us on the speaker section, and we'll be bringing up like other speakers right to see those that probably want to engage. But what I was just saying is that obviously, if the problem is flawed, then I think the conversation of feeling like sand filling any water body in Lagos should probably not be a conversation. And like you said, it's quite contradictory for a government that is trying to prevent flood to still be so. Where does that water go? Where that particular water, those places you are feeling. So I totally agree with you that the sensitivity of, and for me it's kind of like I'm kind of really scared for Lagosians first, then Nigerians in general, as per what is happening in Lagos. Some people don't understand the kind of antecedent this is going to set. It is too dangerous. It is too. I mean, I don't even think any government, like whatsoever, for vendetta reason or whatever you are thinking, should use this. I mean, if you want to do whatever you should do, this is too dangerous. It's pretty much a bad antecedent. But for the only question I'll just probably ask you is because when we talk about opposition, I think Lagos as well is a state too has opposition and needs to play opposition. So I just want to ask, you know, you as a governorship candidate, first of all, like um, what or even maybe the Labour Party, which you belong to currently, what are you guys trying to do to see how you can um, get involved in this? Because, like you said, I don't think a lot of these buildings were erected just without. it's crazy. Like, it's not possible that all these buildings were erected wrongly all of a sudden. So what are you doing to see what you can, both legally and outside that, to see how you could get involved, maybe even provide support for some of these people?
Yes. So I've been in conversations with some people about, sort of, extending some level of support and transitioning, that like that transition element of this thing. And we're trying to figure out how we're going to be able to put it together in an efficient way. Um, So, like trying to provide temporary storage for people, trying to, even if it's just helping with moving vans, to move stuff out from places that are going to be demolished, and just show some humanity and a level of empathy. I think that on the bigger idea of opposition, for us is also just helping people, using our platform to bring light to people's predicaments. The government would rather these things are done quietly. Recently, I think I was on Arise, I believe, with the Commissioner of Environment, and being able to, I want to say, hold them accountable, because his whole thing was basically like, listen, I feel bad for you, but you know what, this is going down, is going down. um and I did not really, but the good thing is we're able to prefer ideas. Hopefully they would get the sense of not being as arrogant, and you know coming and handling this thing with a lot more empathy, right? um And there's this tribal undertone and political undertone that this thing is also taking. But then you have to look at Lagos Island, that gave them their highest um, votes in terms of percentages, and there's demolitions that are happening in Lagos Island as well. So I'm not ruling anything out, right? Obviously, life is not just one way. It's not black and white. There are grays, right? And everywhere I go, I know what the people there are telling me about the elections and what happened there and all of that. But at the same time, we also have to just continue to be there for people, use our platform to ensure that, at least, even if it's compensation for them to get, right? That's also one thing that we continue to push for. On the Labour Party front, there's been lots of activities to get the party structure all on board, to also start to do engagements with communities as well. The last one that I was aware of was the art for art and politics. It was like an exchange where people could come and celebrate art, but also trying to uplift society. Again, trying to win hearts and minds. So that's where we are in terms of this particular um, topic. For me, again, it's about hearts and minds. So our healthcare insurance, healthcare outreach, we try to do that at least two, 3 times a month, all across Lagos State. It's a situation where you get a healthcare insurance card, and when you're sick, you can activate it. You can speak to a doctor, or you can go to a pharmacy that's closest to you, usually a partner, and then get drugs for up to 5,000 naira. So every little helps. There are people that die of malaria, there are people that die of typhoid. So having that, and also testing the concept of telemedicine, testing the concept of micro health insurance, network insurance, is something that's very dear to me and very interesting, because I feel that our healthcare system, if we can have a working healthcare system, a lot of benefits will come to people, and people really feel government. So those are some things that we're doing to win hearts and minds of people.
All right, thank you very much, GRV. That it's almost as if you guys are doing a lot of the government work for the government. Anyway, so guys, if you're just joining, welcome to Violence Space. Of course, so today we have GRV Badibor Survivor. on the space, the Labour Party governorship candidate for Lagos in the past election. So we've been having like conversations. Of course, part of our topic is still normal violence space. So I know, yeah, this is like a special edition because we have GRV here, but feel free to no protocol has been breached. So I'm just going to, I don't know if NC's probably has anything for now he wants to engage you on, but okay, NC's is currently not here. But
No, no need, no need. Just ride on.
yeah.
Right.
So Jimmy, I know earlier you said you were also waiting to see to get back the ball around. So, but for the rest of us down the speaker section, I really want you to, if you have maybe like a question or you want to engage him a suggestion, or it's not limited to just questions really, regarding his activities, Lagos activities, his take on all these activities. Um, just put your hands up when you're on the speaker section so that I'll know. I don't want to have to call us randomly. So yeah, I can see some of us, our hands are up currently. So for the rest of us, if your hand is not up, I may need, I don't want to, don't like to, but I may need to take you back to this listener so that we can bring a lot of people that intend to speak. So I'll see. I just want to confirm, Jimmy, do you have you know,
Yeah,
yeah,
I
go ahead.
actually want to. Yeah, I want to engage him on the health care thing, but I mean I share that sentiment with my brother here Tudo, and he is just gonna do the whole questioning if that's okay by you guys, and that's the reason why it's okay. So I'll just reserve that for him to handle.
All right, okay, that's great. Tudo, I'm going to come to Tudo certainly. So, Mommy B, are you good? You have something for your for your governor.
I'm good at the minute.
All right, okay, that's great. So I'll just go to Sarah. Sarah, if Sarah normally does not raise her hand, but if Sarah is raising her hand, then I don't want to call you table shaker because you are
No,
not.
Sarah is trying to be humble. Say she did sell, so she
I'm
has
not.
to let the officer know. Say she wants to talk.
Yeah. So all right, Sarah, please go ahead. Polonium, Genstar, Uzana, Rich Jack. I can see you guys on the speaker section, but your hands are not up, so I'm not so sure if you intend to speak. Sarah, go ahead.
Thank you, my high and mighty well meaning controller of all the Twitter space and the leader of violence space. Good morning, good afternoon, good
My leader.
evening. You're such a scam. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone, wherever you are. Quick one. I just wanted to, drag out a few things. First of all, Uh, hello once again, GRV, and nice to see you here on Violent Space again because you, you have abandoned us. But moving on. So, you mentioned something about building structures and kind of like putting them in various cabinets on how to address issues, especially as regards social media. I just want to say, for me, that is my own opinion. I don't think it would work, in the sense that number one, obedience are a very, very large group of people who are in various countries. You cannot say, even if we even want to create like cabinet or a structure that we can capture or encapsulate all the obedience or most of the obedience, we would not even be able to do that, right? Because a lot of people are actually in various time zones. Some people come online like from 2 a.m. to like 4 a.m. Some are online from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. Some are online from 1 p.m. So they're like in various places. And whenever anyone comes online, what you want to do or what you like to do is to see what is happening and give your views or your opinion as to what is happening. If we say we want to start, putting people in a particular box or in a particular section to say, oh, if you see an issue about insecurity, don't speak on it. Speak only on the issues with finance. If you see an issue with education, don't speak on it. Speak only about issues of government failure and security. we're not going to be, I mean, a lot of people would not buy that to start with, and we're not going to be giving people that voice that we need them to have. Because the reason why we speak on these issues is to make these people understand that we have a voice and we're going to use it at every given time. I mean, so it's okay, yeah, that's the message. We're going to talk about every single thing that's happening in the country and look at the ways we can actually cope or mitigate them. So everyone would actually want to, speak on issues that they see, or issues that directly affects them, or issues that they feel directly affects them. If we want to place people, or if we're trying to place people in specific cabinets or structures, it may not work. To me, that's my own
Oh,
opinion.
yeah. Can I come in? Do you mind?
Yes, yes, you can.
Okay. Okay. So you see, Jesus Christ had 12 disciples, right? And today, you know how many Christians there are in the world. Where I was coming from was not about having the whole obedience, you know, come and put in a box. I'm just saying that if we have a structured, even if we just have 10 people that are part of the violence cabinet, because it's not just about a topic, it's about staying on a topic, it's about getting that topic down to the grassroots that is outside of Twitter. So that requires somebody that's going to stay on something consistently for, like, let's say a week. There was an example that was given about the school, Tinubu school, something, right? Now,
Yeah.
that movement was a Twitter movement, right? And a lot of people saw it, right? But think about that woman somewhere in Lagos Island, right? That is carrying her child to the market, and that child's supposed to be in school, but is not at school and is just sitting down with his mother while she's selling something. Does she fully understand the magnitude of the information that was shared? She does not. Now, okay, is there somebody that's going to look at that series that he did and go and look at the budgets and see, okay, this school that we're talking about, was any budget allocation made for this school? And was money spent? Because if these children are in schools that look this bad, what happened to that money? So what I'm trying to say is that, you see, the problem with Twitter is that, and it was alluded to in this conversation, is that after a while we become numbed to information. And it was alluded to where we're sitting down, we've heard that 500 people have been kidnapped, and the whole world is just going on like nothing happened. But that's also because about 3 or 4 weeks ago or 2 months ago, we also heard about some other people that were kidnapped. I believe it was in southern Kaduna or part of Kaduna, I believe, if memory serves me right. And then after some time, they were brought back. All of them wearing the same matching ashwabi, like, they went for a Christmas party all together. I don't know, but the point is, you know, a lot of information numbs people, where at some point the desired action is no longer taken, especially if it's surface information. So, what I'm trying to say is, in terms of a shadow cabinet, we're not saying people should not tweet what they like when they come online. Right? No, just a group of people. It doesn't have to be more than 12 people or 20 people, right? And they can stay on point. They can look deeper. They can do threads for a bit more time, so that, like was even talked about here, it can get on what's trending on our eyes. The radio stations can pick it up. Local stations that are going to speak in English or Igbo or Pidgin or Yoruba will pick it up. And then it goes down to the ground, right? And you can only achieve this with deep work. So if you are looking at a school in Oshodi, okay, you shared it, we've all seen the schools that I met, and we've moved on. But if we've done an investigation and we can now find that, oh, so 50 million was supposed to have been spent on this school, but somebody chopped the money. Okay, is there a way that we can get that information down into WhatsApp groups of people in that community, in publications of that community, for people at churches or mosque in that community to talk about this, right? So that's what I mean. And then the work is amplified outside of Twitter. And Honestly, like if I mean what APC and propaganda and lies, they're like 5 and 6, but you need to study them to actually see their efficiency and also see why they do things with a lot of reckless abandon because they believe they can get through with things. You need to understand their WhatsApp game. Their WhatsApp game is phenomenal. All those groups of people that are not on Facebook or Twitter, they just have WhatsApp groups. They communicate via audio because a lot of them cannot type. So they just send voice notes to themselves and see how they spread disinformation and lies on there. And it's easier to do it on WhatsApp because you are not going to be able to hold anybody accountable. Twitter, you tweet something, someone can come and take you to jail. Or I mean, you know all about that, you know. So a point I'm trying to make is that person could have put all that information on WhatsApp. It should have gone viral on WhatsApp, and you'll not be able to trace who did what, right? So I'm saying that, and everything I said was based on the conversation I heard earlier, which is we need to really play the opposition game, right? And get the realities. Like you've seen a lot of videos where women are talking about how Gary is this expensive, how they are hungry, how things are so bad. Those things are going viral on WhatsApp. So it starts from the ground on WhatsApp, then finds its way to Twitter, right? So we need more of that. We need people that are going to say, okay, we are going to look at this in this state, we are looking at this, right? And then we are now looking at this in this local government. That's where structure comes in. And by the time you do that consistently for 2, 3 years, you have people on the ground, you have people on top. So that's what I meant.
Oh,
Or
okay. Well, I wanted to, well meaning, your high and mighty, well meaning, my Lord and my conqueror, please permit me to go on. So, JRV, you did mention something. You spoke about the schools in Nigeria. I quickly wanted to ask, your analysis or your computations, did you ever come across a Jeremy Public Primary School in Lagos? Did you ever come across any of the rehabilitations or renovations? I mean, did you ever come across anything on that school?
Yeah, it's that complex. It's that complex, the Tolu complex that we are looking at.
Okay, and the same school where the former deputy of Lagos was giving money to renovate, right?
And I'm not sure who was giving that money, but there was a huge amount of money, in billions, that's supposed to renovate the entire place, right? So they've now divided it into lots. So there's a lot F that we were supposed to have spent 3 billion on. And we went sent the QS, we sent a team there. They spent about 4 or 5 hours there looking for this lot F. They could not find it. I'm sure somebody in APC knows
Uh,
where lot F is.
of
But we
course,
saw lot
definitely.
E, right? We saw lot E. But you see, this kind of thing, you want to come out with precise information that
Information.
nobody can use some kind of distraction to take
Mm.
it away. So that's the delay. We are doing a lot of investigation, and if we cannot have all that concrete information that we can put out in a very clear, concise way, we'll just leave it.
all right.
Okay, I think well meaning, please, your Lord and
Sarah, you want to turn
mighty.
it to family meeting. You people will go to your
No,
LP Lagos.
I'm asking. I raised my hands. Well meaning today. Thank God you even
You
acknowledge
said
that
you
I
raised your
raised.
hand. You're not going to raise it. NC's hand is up now currently. You people
SC
want to turn
should
it to
wait.
Lagos family meeting.
Well meaning, I still even have three more things to say, but I'll block it down to one and then wait for my turn
You
again.
can actually paste it and come back.
Sarah,
That's
people,
fine.
others go, them to go write three questions. So, hey,
Don't worry, Sarah, I'll leave you here.
Jimmy,
So I'll come
Jimmy,
back to
you
you.
came up here and you said a lot of prayers that we did not even hear. Sef. We could never say amen or God forbid. So
Jesus
you
Christ.
just hold on.
Sarah, any yama me or gama or ateme. If they don't collect the thing from
Ah,
you,
well, meaning,
you know what that means.
please just.
Um,
I just
Anyway, NC's go. I say I'll
let me
come back
just
to you.
quickly say this. please, please, please. Let me just quickly say this here. Okay, GRV, please, if you have that analysis on the school in Jeremy, kindly help us. And please, to all obedience, I know obedience, they are 100% very, very good with fact finding and getting out information. So we need to know who these monies were given to, especially on this school, this
Mm. Okay,
Jeremy.
I'll share it.
Yeah,
I'll share the
this
information.
Ajurumi
I'll share the
Primary
document.
School, yes, because there are a lot of issues, specifically on this school. And
Yep.
from the information that I have, or that I know, was this past Lagos State governor that was giving some monies to renovate or restructure classrooms. So the money might have gone to her, it might not have gone to her. But if we have more facts and more details, I need all of us to dig deep and let's get to work. And that's on
Yeah.
that. And yes, just to tell, I know they're always like those on our Vawulence page. Just to tell all of you that the number one son of Lagos is here with us. I don't know if it's your Jeremy, I don't know if it's your father or your grandfather, but someone like from your family, their picture is like hung on one of these justices' office, and the picture is huge. I saw it one of these days. I went there to see the director, and the picture was right there.
Mm.
Gbadebo 5 or something, something, federal justice, something, something, something. I'm like, yo, yo, yo. See, we're the owners of Lagos. Our Lagos is not their Lagos. So moving on.
Yeah.
Well meaning.
No, yeah, thank you very much, Sarah. Thank you. All right, Ensis, go ahead. After
Um,
I'm going to come to Tudo.
Hello, GRV.
Hello, sir.
There is something I've always wanted to. There is an approach to the opposition. I even feel our leaders in Labour Party and our candidates too need to also, pardon my French, but have some balls. And this
Okay.
is a suggestion I would want to give you.
Mm.
I don't know about Babajide Sanwo-Olu a lot, but before I ever heard the name, Ambode Akinwumi told me as a Lagos citizen that my next governor has been a psychiatric patient before.
Mm.
And standing on that, I will say that Babajide Sanwo-Olu has been running Lagos like a mad person
Mm.
without fear or favor. Now, there are so many things we will complain about as obedience. You and I know the APC will not listen. Organize this structure, this violence cabinet, have people that will be dragging Sowolu on schools for the next 4 years. He will buy more Patek wristwatches than to refurbish one school in Lagos. We know this. So I want to ask something, JRV. Is it possible that we can write down at least 10 of the most important things we need done in Lagos immediately? As I speak to you, there are no street lights on Echo Bridge.
Mm.
Someone who's in his fifth year. It took Umahi's miracle to at least have street lights on Third Mainland.
Mm.
Is it possible that we sit down and write that we want a solution to Makoko in 6 months? We write this thing down, you give us a date as obedience, and we march behind you and we present this to someone. He will not be telling us where to fix in Lagos. We will tell him where he will go and work. And we will march steadily behind you. We pick a date, we go. We will hire the police, we'll hire them. It's nobody, no be quarrel, no be fight. And we'll present a document to someone that in the next, since you are clueless in the APC and you're clueless on what to do, in the next 6 to 9 months, this is what we in Lagos want you to fix.
Mm. I
No be
think that's it.
someone go tell me, say, he won't carry 9 million naira buy diffuser, or he wants to do this or he wants to do that. Because all I keep hearing from the top in this movement is all obedience should be doing. But by God, Occupy Nigeria was forefronted by the chief people at the APC. They didn't cower.
Mm-hmm.
But today, you hear things like the obedience should organize the protest or should organize this. Where are our candidates? Where are our leaders? So
Mm.
please, I beg of you, I don't know how we're going to do this, but please, you need to, maybe it is one thing he should do per local government or something. Maybe this
Yeah.
local government needs a hospital. Leave road.
Mm-hmm.
This local government's
Mm.
own is that there is Lassa fever here. They need drainage done. Some places in Ikorodu is they need the inner city roads done. Someone will not just get up and start breaking houses for me. That's not what we sent him to do. If
Exactly.
he did not tell anybody when he was running and going to lick ice cream and plaiting girls' hair and fixing handsets, that the first thing he would do is declare that 80% of the houses in Lekki are illegal and demolishable. Because if Sanwo-Olu has said that in his manifesto in 2023, I know that half of Lagos, he will not have gotten any votes.
Exactly.
I remember the stress they gave they gave you for your manifestos. And you
Hmm.
people brought out your manifestos. And I know that today, if you guys were not following your manifesto, APC would have been on your neck. But today, APC gave us a manifesto that is there on Google. And every day, they have not done one thing according to their manifesto. Where is a coastal highway in the APC manifesto of 2023? So why is it the first priority project that they are undertaking?
Hmm.
So I think the next thing you should be talking about is every local government give us two problems Sanwo-Olu should solve for you. You cannot be in Ikorodu and you are telling me that Sanwo-Olu is doing blue line train. What it concern you for Ikorodu with blue lines achievements? So let everybody be able to feel this. Look, because as far as I'm concerned, I need a Nigeria that works before 2027. And if it's to bully this demonic cartel of people that have snatched power in my country, if it's to bully them, let us first start from the fact that we gave them our demands before we march on the road.
Yeah.
Because I will personally spend a day and come out at City Hall and ensure that someone who comes out and picks that document, telling him that you must do the next 11 things in the next 1 year. No be APC go celebrate 1 year, they tell me what they achieve. I think as opposition we need to start with what I call calculated madness. This
Hmm.
is 1 year gone, and Sanwo-Olu brought out Oro in daytime to fight your election. So Sanwo-Olu will not
Yeah.
go. He's not going to be telling me what to. In the last 1 year, do you know what Sanwo-Olu achieved? He took his side chick to a Caribbean island with half of the Lagos State cabinet and Flavor to perform. Let's call it spade. Let's point to where he spent 9 million naira on 9 billion on diffusers. Look at that nonsense budget. And this is something I'm sure if you bring this and Mr. Doherty and all of you gather together and say, let us march to Lagos State, this thing. No, I don't think anybody in the opposition will argue.
Hmm.
Even so, Ray might buy into an idea like this. Let's start telling these people what they will do, what they should be doing. They clearly
Yeah.
don't know what to do. Financial planner Kalu has been shouting, government has subsidized Hajj. They've subsidized this, but they will not subsidize food imports. But guess what? This is 1 year. Nobody in APC cares. And the prices of food is just going over the roof. But I trust you that if obedience gathered and carried 5 things and told Tinubu, we want subsidy on food, open importation of food immediately, or we are not leaving Eagle Square, or we are not leaving the front of Asu Rock. I swear before God and man, Tinubu will open the borders on food in 2 days. So
Hmm.
these are ideas that I feel are slightly more militant within the laws of society, but it will get us a
Yeah.
lot more done. These guys are clueless. They bring out a thing, obedience fight it, they take it back. So technically, they are using us to check their policies. But if we are the smarter people, let's give them the policies to do and let them do it. At the end of
Yeah.
the day, Nigeria moves forward, and Tinubu will not get up tomorrow and tell me that it is his own ideas when we wrote down these ideas and gave them. When
Yeah.
let them do the job they are meant to do, then get out in 2027 because we are going to vote them out. But till then, I'm done with this free fall of where this country is heading, and it's about time we start dictating to these people what should be done
Hmm.
as Nigerians. So
Yeah.
a calculated effort of 2 requests per local government, we document this thing, probably even get a costing. If we can tell Tinubu, tell someone, look here, young man, in each local government, this local government needs one borehole in this local government and an upgrade of this one. This local government needs an upgrade of the 2 primary schools here. This local government needs you to sort out employment, so everybody here needs SMEs. This local government needs this. The costing for this local Alimosho is 2 billion, this 1 billion, everything will cost you 3 billion, and this is what we, the people of Lagos, demand for you over the course of the next 365 days. Nobody you go get to begin tell me say you did this or you went to China or your daughter married. That's part of your achievement. That's why Kogi governor can list he visited Nuhu Ribadu as an achievement in 1 year. I'm done. So please, if this is an idea that works for you, let's get into it and present this man a 24-point
Yes.
agenda for the next 1 year. If he moves
Yeah,
out of it, then we as Lagos will know what to do. Because then he would have
yeah,
traversed an agreement he had with the people of Lagos. Enough of this freestyling. I'm so sorry, but I'm done making excuses for these people at the top. And there's a level of heat that they honestly should start feeling. I yield.
yeah,
If I made sense, I hope it's workable. God
yeah,
bless you.
yeah, yeah. I think that's a fantastic idea. Um, I think that, that's it. I think it's a fantastic idea, and I don't even think it's militant. I think it's just democracy, right? I've always said that democracy should be a two-way street. You don't just what they like, what they are used to typically is they contest against a politician. They call the politician at night. They give him some money. So once you've collected their money, you cannot talk anymore, and then you go quiet. And then maybe 5 months to election or year to election, we start hearing your name again. But fortunately, we are consistent. We mean this. We fight them all the way to the end, and we have our integrity. So we should take advantage of that. And I think what you've said is a brilliant idea. What we found ourselves in as opposition is reacting, right? We are reacting, like you rightly highlighted. Okay, you use this money to buy that user, and we talk about it and everything. I think we also know that they are not going to do anything, right? I mean, for instance, the 200 million naira that Sonolu used to pay his personal legal bills, after publicizing it and going on TV and talking about it, we then wrote a letter to the Speaker of the House. Obviously, I know that they're not going to impeach him. I mean, we don't live in that type of country, but it's about this is something that is an impeachable offense. There is nowhere where this is acceptable, right? But obviously, nothing was done. Um, so rather than be reactive, I guess we can be proactive. And if anything, is also showing the people the alternative. Now, and it's worth trying, right? Because like you said, if Nigeria is not standing in 2027, then what are we talking about, right? Like you said, there's a free fall, and it's something that should be addressed. At least if we can make lives easier for people. That's the one advantage of opposition, where the people actually have benefit from government, because government is trying to be careful to not, get under too much heat from the opposition. And there's somebody to stand up and talk for the people when the government is misbehaving. So I've sent you a message already. I would like to follow up this conversation with you, um, maybe over the weekend, and let's try and see how we can action this. Thank you so much.
God
All
bless
right.
you, sir. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, JRV. Thank you. Okay, quickly, I'll just go straight to. I'll go straight to Tudo. But NC, there was something you said that I was actually also going to say we should. I think there is need. This opposition coming together, unity of opposition. I think it's something that should also be implemented at especially with someone like Mr. Doherty, which I know from even JRV's tweets some time back. You can tell that it's someone that also they work together. But I think that
Because
that
the truth for me
synchronization.
was,
Yeah.
JLV broke it down in better lexicons. We have been very reactionary as opposition. But it's okay. We live and we learn. We are the new opposition. We are the children who were propagandized against in 2015, learned our lesson in 2019. Tribalism and bigotry was used against us in 2023. We learned from that. So obviously we tweak as we move. But for the longest time, if you notice, I've been very quiet on space because I've been thinking of how can we go on the offensive. And this idea came to me because why don't we then write what we want? In Surulere, a lot of the inner city roads in Aguda are messed up. If you come to Surulere now, but what Sonolu is fixing in Surulere is Teslim Balogun Stadium. He's spending money fixing Teslim Balogun Stadium that remains locked for 4 years till the next campaign, and APC will campaign there 11 times in one season. But if you see the amount of work they're doing in Teslim Balogun Stadium, you'll be like, bro, why don't you just pass 10 roads? So if Surulere says we want Aguda Tad, If he comes to Aguda and starts doing, or Sule and starts doing any other nonsense, you, the people of Sule, know that, Baba, we didn't ask you for this. And this will be a consensus read from the ballers to the, let everybody know, so that if this local government down is borehole, Baba, go there and, okay, go to that local government and go and demolish 10 houses there when everybody has agreed that, Sanwo-Olu on a borehole, we need 3 borehole here, 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 make these people know the trek. And then we know that, okay, we are at least, because I still believe APC in that phrase from Game of Thrones. Tinubu does not mind burning down Nigeria just to reign over this country as king of the ashes.
Oh yeah.
And it's the
Oh
same
yeah.
thing with Sanwo-Olu, because I know that their last card will be burn the country, state of the nation. They already have their people in the military, and all of us live under a military state. I know that will be their last card. It's already there. They're doing the Goebbels level propaganda of the Nazi period. It will be their last card. So let's start becoming more reactionary. This is what we want as Nigerians. In the whole of Victoria Island, there is no public school. But you come to Victoria Island and tell them that what you want to give them is coastal road, and start breaking down things that are creating employment in Victoria Island. If the people
Mm.
of Victoria Island have told you that this was not what we wanted, if we had this in a document signed by all
Yeah.
the opposition leaders and everybody had trekked to State House and told you Oniru is requesting upgrade of Oniru Boys School, Aguda is requesting upgrade of Brown Road, this one and this one. Alimosho is
Mm.
requesting one borehole here and fixing of Alimosho Medical Center. In the last 2 years, so women have died of pregnancy, with emphasis on the maternal units.
Yeah.
This one, Victoria Island is Etiosa is asking for this. Lekki Phase 1 is asking for cleanage of all drainages. This one, and then fixing of the Lekki water problem once and for all. By the time everybody don't get two problems, so will you just solve 2 problems for me? Waka come out after 4 years. That's my own.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
He
totally
goes
agree.
against this, then he's contravening an agreement with the people, which is deadlier than even any court agreement. I think that puts us more on the offensive, and we can do this all the way to Tinubu. Dear Jagaban, please, this is what we want. By the time we Nigerians tell Tinubu we want him to fix the east-west road, make him go do road from here to Calabar now, if them born and well. And this is more calculated. These people, they think they're stubborn. We will conk their head and push their head in the right direction, because they will not wreck Nigeria for us while they are balling. Because, like it or not, there will still be 5 billion to buy a yacht, 20 billion to fix a house, and jeeps to share for the House of Reps. It will still be there. God bless you all. I yield.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much, NCs. You remind me of Chatter of Demands. All right, quickly, I'm going to go to Tudo.
Exactly.
I'm going to go to Tudo. After Tudo, I'm going to come to, we'll take a lady, so we'll go to Jennifer. Then we'll take it around from there.
All right. Thank you. First of all, thank you to the host, Emir Saddam. I appreciate you. Thanks for the opportunity. Thanks for the platform as well. Our co-host Sizzle, well-meaning. Thanks, guys. And greetings to everyone in the space, all our friends, and warriors and champions in the obedient movement. I respect you all, and I salute you. Thank you very much. Badebo, welcome to the
Good
good evening,
evening.
bro. Yeah, it's really an honor for me to speak with you on this space, on this platform. Thank you for your time and for all the good work you're doing. Omo Ekonimio, born and raised.
Okay, nice
Yeah,
one.
yeah, yeah, born and raised. All right. So first of all, let me say that I watched the interview between you and the commissioner, Mr. Tokumba Wahab. I think that I know you alluded to it moments ago. If you watch that interview, there was just one person who captured the sentiments of the people who had empathy, and that one person was you. I think it's rather unfortunate for our leaders who, the moment they get into power, I don't know, they get power drunk or something like that. In all of his explaining and everything he was trying to rationalize by decision of the government, there was complete zero empathy for all of the pains and the torture and the torment that the people have been facing as a result of the recent demolitions that have been going on in Lagos. So thank you for that interview. It was really eye opening. My questions are just two. The first question is about healthcare, like my brother Jimmy talked about. I know you have your GRV healthcare program. We've talked about telemedicine, micro health insurance program, and all of that. I want you to please compare, if you can, your program with the one that the state government has been touting, Ilera Eco. Now, the evangelist for the program, I think Mrs. Emanuela Zamba, something like that, has been going around. They've been claiming that they've insured almost 1 million people, which means that they have covered all of the civil servants in Lagos, okay, state and local government,
Mm,
and more. Um, can you speak to that? I don't know how many Lagosians go to the hospitals today, and then when they're asked to pay for healthcare, whatever, they pull out their insurance card and say, "Hey, here you go." And then, so this idea
yeah.
of subsidized insurance, if you can speak to that, and then compare it to the one that you have going on at the moment, I really appreciate it. Thank you, and I'll yield
Okay.
and drop to a listener to get your response. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you so much. Ilera Eco, we looked at it. I remember during the campaigns, we looked at the numbers and the reports on it, and it was a lot of, the government does a lot of announcements to get headlines, but there isn't really much substance to it. But I know that during the campaigns, they started pushing it out, they started going to churches, talk to people about it, at least redeemed churches. I know that happened for a fact. Now, the level of coverage and people actually benefiting from this, honestly, it's like the Onja Eco situation where they talk about all this food that they're bringing out that's very cheap and very affordable. But then you go to these places, the few places where the people actually come together for the food, you see that there's barely any discounts there. So there's a lot of audio action, right? So, and to be honest, I've also, since the elections, I've not followed up to see how well they're performing. But this is a very good question. I'm going to talk to my team tomorrow so that we can do a deep dive to actually get some more data on where the Lyrical situation is right now. But let me speak about the one that we're doing. Obviously, I'm not in government. I'm not, I don't have the Lagos State Treasury, so I'm just doing what I can within my own capacity. But the interesting thing about it, and let me just break it down, is that pharmacies are networked, right? So, for instance, if I give you the card and you live in Badagry, when you call to activate it, you'll be given a list of pharmacies that are closest to you, that are partners, and that you can go to be able to get medicine for up to 5,000 naira, right? Now, when we go out and do this outreach, we're looking at a situation where you're given a card that once you activate it, you can use it for a month, right? So it's micro health insurance. There are also options to talk to a doctor on the phone, so telemedicine, like I said earlier on. And there are also diagnostic tests that you can also do. And obviously, this health insurance package can be increased to cover a lot more. Um, so obviously it all depends because I'm funding it myself. So it's based on my own capacity. But the bigger idea for me is to test it as much as I can in different local governments to also encourage the idea, right? And to be able to see how we can make that network as efficient as possible. Because there is nothing as nice for me, because it's also when you then have a proper healthcare system that works, you can then have a health network where the files or the history of every patient can move with them to any local government, right? It's like the NHS. You go, there is a local healthcare center in your environment, right? The closest one to you is where you go. You don't need to be going around looking for the best doctors. You just go to the closest one. And when they give you your prescription, they send that prescription to the pharmacy that's closest to where you live, right? And that's where you go and pick it up. So that allows for a lot of data, a lot of customized medicine, um, data sets that can move with the person, so it's not a situation where you have to carry a file. to go to another hospital if one hospital does not treat you properly and doctor now has to read up on it and everything. It just moves it. So that's also very important to me. I
Yeah.
feel the future of medicine. So yeah. So
All, all right. Thank you very much, JRV. I mean, that's for me. I've always followed your post and I think Savior's post on that outreach, and like I say about Peter Obi a lot of time, that Peter Obi is using he's using his personal funds to run Nigeria. You know, doing one or two personal work here and there. I see you are doing the same because this is you literally creating health insurance for I mean maybe not the entire as much people as you can up to
mm,
your capacity. That this is what you are doing, and you don't have access to government coffers. It's not you don't it's not. I mean it's quite sad what we have to deal with. That's why sometimes just listening to people defend this kind of people for me it makes me sick, really literally to my stomach. Like my stomach starts to turn me when I listen to people defend these guys.
mhm,
It's just it's quite sad. All right, quickly, I'm just going to go straight to. So I know some of us are probably because we want to try and get not just the regular uh, violence based voices. So I know some of you that are coming on the speaker section probably are not used to raising your hand on spaces. I'm going to give you that benefit of that, but let me just teach you. It's quite simple. There's the love and plus icon on your screen. um, Press or click or touch that icon. Then on the extreme right, you are going to see one hand up, not the waving hand, the extreme right of that of the emojis. You're going to see one hand up. So that's how to raise your hand. So please do well if you're on the speaker section to. So at DMA, I can see you about to raise your hand now. So that's the best way to do it. But please, guys, let's not forget. We are trending. Tinubu has failed in security. It's on the jumbotron. Um, I expect. These are some of the things we need to be doing, and this is very very important. So please keep using that hashtag, even if you don't have. It's not possible for you not to have anything. But let me just assume, even if you don't have anything to say, just tweet that hashtag. We need to speak louder. I know, it's just us trying. Even if you just consider it as a way of you as a humanitarian activity, you just lending your voice to people that are really. I don't like Jerry said earlier. We are now used to some of these things. It's now almost normal. Some of you here, I don't know if you understand what it means. You probably can even sleep outside your house one night. So you can imagine people right now, 500 people minimum plus, are somewhere in the bush. They can't, as in they can't live in their house. I think the least you could do is to lend your voice to that cause. That's the very least you could do. Then also, let's not forget on Saturday, we are going to be having like a special edition of Violence Space. We are going to be having um, Bello Galadanchi or Dambelo, the way some of us see him online, Jira on Violence Space. It's more like a special or out of day edition, or So we're going to be having him on Saturday by 6 p.m. Nigerian time. So let's not forget the fly is somewhere on Violence Space Handle. You can look at Violence Space Handle. I'll put it on Jumbotron then. Let's be around. It's going to be an interesting conversation. I have a feeling that bullets might touch everybody, but I'm all for it. So let's have that at the back of our mind. All right, quickly, I'm just going to move straight to. I was going to come to Polonium, but Polonium is not on the speaker section again. So I'm just going to go. Okay, Jenstar. So I was going to come to a lady. So Jenstar, please go ahead. After Jenstar, I'll come to Oxley Technologies.
Thank you, well meaning. Good evening, everyone. Hi, GRV. Um, Firstly, let me agree with you on the opposition. I feel like we're not doing a structured opposition work, and that's because we are not structured. I have submitted my proposal to the people working on building a structure. And thankfully, whilst Jerry was speaking, I checked my proposal document again. I noted that I said social media, print media, and one other thing. I put 3 levels. And in print media, I believe that we should publish, when we are holding the federal government to account, we should publish both papers in Nigeria and papers externally. For example, if we are criticizing the loss of confidence by investors in the Nigerian economy. This is why we must structure. We must have a team of quality economists amongst us, three, four, five, six, seven people who will sit down and content that will be published in Nigeria, but also in the Financial Times in London, op-eds that will be published in the Washington Post. These are just opinion pieces like the one Chimamanda Adichie wrote. Nadeko in their days, they used to publish criticisms of the government, both in Nigerian papers and external papers. We can put it in the Times of London. There are ways to do these things, and that's part of the opposition work. And I think we need to structure so that we have all of these people sitting within our movement, and structure will provide the opportunity for people to volunteer within each of these strategic areas. So that's me agreeing with what GRV said, and I've already submitted my proposal to the people doing the work. And then to GRV, first and foremost, let me commend you that from the elections up until now, you've been spending your own money. I just want to say to Nigerians that this is an anomaly. Nobody should be contesting election with their own money. Nobody should be doing the work of the opposition to a state government with their own money. The charitable work he's doing, the rights he's sharing, and all of those things, if he was in a developed country, he will get tax breaks for those. He's not going to get that in Nigeria. He announced during the elections or right after the presidential election, when a market was born, that he was going to give those traders 15 million. Somebody did a post after GRV went on Arise TV. A lady did a post I saw this weekend where she was saying, he wasn't giving them fire for fire. And I responded, because me, I don't take nonsense. We really need to school ourselves, the middle class and Nigerians. All of us will keep quiet on the heels of society. And I wrote that, I said he should carry all the load. What about all the money he spent? And I wrote it under the Omolomo. Does he not have a wife? Does he not have family? Does he not have children? So why should he use his head to carry all the money? So, and Aisha Yusufu talked about this on Charles and Nyagolu's program. I don't know if it was yesterday, that we need to begin to talk to ourselves. Fundraising. Some people stole money. So what? Even in America, people still steal money. And we're a growing democracy. It is part of the growing pains. We will structure, we will do better. Me, when people pursue this one stole money, I believe in accountability, but I feel like that's minor. The strategic picture of the bigger picture of what we want to achieve is bigger than the sum of whatever money people have stolen. When I gave, I didn't even bother myself about accountability. Accountability is good. We will structure, we will make things. Let's not forget that everything was rushed, everything wasn't planned last year. When we structure now, things will be put in place, accountability will be there, but we must in that structure begin to tax ourselves. If you say, Aisha Yusufu did an analogy on TV with Charles, where she said if we all start taxing ourselves 1,000 a month and people start contributing in 4 years, she said we'll have about 40 billion. As the opposition, home and abroad, we need to understand that part of the opposition is structure. When Stacey Abrams lost, I'll round up with this. When Stacey Abrams of Georgia lost the governorship election, not this one, the other one, when she lost, she said, no, there are too many people. The demography, the data tells me that we should be able to change Georgia from red to blue. And she went to Capitol Hill, raised almost $40 million from Democrat Senate donors. She came back to Atlanta, set up shop, and she had 2 or 3 staff, and she began to do the work of opposition in the state of Georgia, registering voters. She didn't wait till the election. She did it continuously for 4 years,
Yeah.
and she was able to flip Georgia by 11,000 votes. My whole call here is the work of opposition in our state and in our federal involves structuring and involves giving money. I'm sorry, well meaning. Finally, some people are asking Jervy, oh, this thing you did, oh, this card, this medical thing you are giving. I find it to be an anomaly. We should not ask a private citizen what money he's giving for medicals and all that. Are we asking him how he's making his money in this economy? It is an anomaly. And this is why we need training. We need to bring people from other democracies to begin to talk to us
Yeah.
how opposition is done. I yield the mic.
All right. Thank you very much, Jen Star. Thank you. a packed submission. I think a lot of it was, more like ideas and commendation as well to GRV. So
But can I
yeah, go
say
ahead.
something?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so thank you so much for that. I do think that the thing with politics is that it brings you into interface with people that you otherwise would never have met in your life. And because they say that if a good politician, even if the a vote is in hell, they'll go into hell to go and get that vote. So you encounter so many problems, so many things, right? And because if okay, so there are two different types of politics. There's a politician that believes that his money is going to speak for him. So he doesn't really need deep connections with the people. Because when it's getting close to elections, he'll have people that will go out, talk, and then when it's time for elections, the day they'll share money the night before, and then those people will go out and vote. That's one type of politics. The other politician, which I believe I fall into, and His Excellency Peter B falls into, is a belief that by raising the awareness of people, they will tend to start to expect better for themselves. And they will understand that it's only servant leadership that can truly take us where we need to be. Now, to do that is a lot of engagement. One-on-one engagement, group engagement is going and meeting and talking to people, listening to their problems, trying to think of solutions to these problems, and every group of people have their own unique peculiarities. The problems of people in Lagos Island is very different from problems that people are dealing with in Badagry or Ojo, right? So it's knowing these things and thinking about solutions consistently to all of these different problems. Now, it's very difficult if you're in politics to actually make a difference to people's lives, not to your pocket. To be able to just, because you didn't win an election, just continue and carry on life as if you have not experienced those things that you just spent a year and a half thinking about, right? So whether funding, no funding, the way it's done, I agree with everything that the lady that just spoke said. But I also just want to give another example. Like when you see Peter going around and doing boreholes and donating money to schools and all of that, whatever you can, in whatever capacity you can, just make a difference. Because at the end of the day, that's why we are here, right? And that's why I cannot join the APC. Because if I cannot make a difference and use the Commonwealth of Lagos properly to lift the people of Lagos up, and I have to be looking at so much money going to Alpha Beta every month and all of that, then I'm just deceiving myself and I'm wasting my time in politics. There's no point. I just go back to practice or do something and just focus on my family, right? But that's not why we're here. So for me, it's about little wins, doing experiments. Okay, if I can learn this and see how this works, then if I have this much more capacity, I'll be able to impact this much more lives.
Yeah.
So, and there's a concept in the Bible, givers never lack. The more you do, you find that just you receive, So, and then other than that, I think what she talked about on structure, I have to hammer that in again. It's extremely, extremely important. What she said about publishing things in the papers in Nigeria and internationally, these were things that the APC, Lai Mohammed was in charge of that operation. They did it extremely effectively. So Jonathan was not just weakened on ground at home, he was also weakened internationally. And it's only a structured organization that can achieve that. So I just want to
Yeah.
add to that point. Yeah, thank
All
you.
right. Thank you very much, Jeremy. Totally agree with you. I mean, I think you may have to come and pay us for this space today because you are getting a lot of ideas.
I know,
That,
right?
that's
I'm also
what
giving you ideas too.
that's what they that's what they like on it. Anyway, thank you very much. Yeah. I mean, you've given some very brilliant ideas as well. About the idea of structure. I was going to say this when Sarah was engaging on it. I was going to say it doesn't mean, for example, if a lot of if we have 10 people focusing on how the government is doing on economy. So it doesn't mean it's only those 10 people that will be tweeting, but it just means
Exactly.
they are the ones that will do a lot of the deep dive into what is going on.
Yes.
They go deeper, and whatever they bring out, every other person can now drive it, enhance
Pushed
it,
out.
push it here.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I really got that particular point, and it's something that I'm hoping that even those that are working on the obedience structure and all that would also put into consideration and all that. So thank you very much. All right, quickly, I'm going to go straight to Oxley. After Oxley, Sonia, I don't know, your hand is not up, but I'm going to check on you if you are there after Oxley. But guys, but let's not forget our hashtag. Tinubu has failed. It's very uncomfortable for me trying to coerce people to use hashtags. I mean, it's simple. I mean, even if you don't believe it works, for example, it's not everything I support online that I believe is going to work, but I also cannot stay back and say, oh, it's not going to work. Let me just, especially because I'm not paying for it. So it can just be your voice, you lending your voice. So try to engage the hashtag as much as possible. Forget about whether or not it's going to work, whether or not they are going to see, whether or not they are going to listen. That's really, for me, it's not very relevant. What's relevant is you doing your part, adding your voice, and that's all.
Sorry,
Quickly, I'll
well,
go straight to us.
let me just
Yeah.
add to that. Sorry, please, just 1 minute, please, guys. I think it's important we understand. Jerry he has been saying how reactive we are. I think maybe he has painted a better picture for us. As a movement, we are very reactive, and we know how to react very well. And when we react, we always get results. We push this. We have a pushback. So I think going forward, us on this platform, we want to start being proactive, not just
Mm.
react. Now we have to be proactive, because I think that's the most important thing as an opposition. Knowing that you should be proactive, we should be the people making Bola Tinubu to be thinking, what will these people do next? Because for him, he has a lot of stuff to keep us being reactive to. We have to also make them be reactive. Let's push this thing next to them also. So please, guys, I think that's why we should be trending hashtags. We pick up a topic and we push it as far as possible. Make sure it trends, and hopefully tomorrow morning it can go on. We can go on Arise TV and you hear the beautiful lady just come out and say what's trending. Tinubu has failed in insecurity, and they begin to talk about it. Read your tweets. They'll read your tweets, your great tweets, your bomb tweets. And also, guys, just see many of those tweets. Now, many people of us are tweeting with that hashtag, and you will see the tweet and you'll not retweet it. Retweet is free. Like is free. Anybody you see making tweets without those hashtags, please jump on it, retweet, visibility. It's very, very important we do these things so that we can start putting these people on the back foot. Thank you. Well, Nigeria, back to you.
Yeah, thank you very much. So I'm going to Oxley. Oxley, let's try to make our submissions, and we have like limited time. So our submissions, either submission or question, whatever it is, within 2 minutes. And I trust we can also do justice to it within 2 minutes. Then I'll go to the next person. So Oxley,
All right.
then I'll check if Sonia is there.
All right. Thank you very much. Well-meaning of the Federal Republic, Emir Saddam, Jimmy, you remain the boss. I hail you, Mumi Balanle, and everyone under the speaker section. Um, GRV, good evening, sir. It's been nice having you on this platform. First, before I ask my question, I will lend my voice to the lady that spoke last, who said talked about allowing Nigerians to invest in politics. In other words, invest in candidates of choice in terms of donation. Please, GRV, I will encourage you. Don't be wary or don't be skeptical about providing a platform where Nigerians can donate to you or any other politician that they believe in. I mean, this is what is done everywhere else. In any civilized society, it is the people that run the agenda. So don't be afraid. Put a structure in place where some of the things you are doing in the healthcare, some of these things that you are doing, there are people that Nigerians that have a little that they can give out to support the good job that you are doing. Don't be afraid. That's all I would say. It's not bad. It's not a bad idea. It's not weird. It might be very weird or somehow in Nigeria, within the Nigerian jurisdiction, but it's the right thing to do. People should not suffer personal losses or damages because they want to be in politics. Please put up a platform. People will do the needful. Coming to my question, I'll do a little. I'm going into a little bit of politics. I'm a little bit worried, right? I see you as a very promising, young guy. I so much believe in you. I look up to you. I've seen the way you carry yourself, and I admire you a lot. So what I'm saying is this: I fear that in the future, politically, I don't know whether you still want to contest in 2027 or you want to. I don't know what your plans are politically, but I'm afraid, and my fear is the platform where you currently have, which is Labour Party. My question is, do you currently control or have some sort of control or over the Labour Party structure in Lagos? If you do, I fear that probably by the time we are getting closer to 2027, there might be plans or there might be plots, to make, to get you, to not allow you to run on the or to have a platform to run on. I have that fear. We know what APC are capable of doing. I have that fear for Obi. Already we are seeing that they are disrupting the platforms or the Labour Party platform. There has been a plot to do that. So for Lagos, I don't know how much or to what extent you control the Labour Party structure in Lagos. Do you have that fear that there might be plots or situations where people wouldn't want you to get into the ballot, given your popularity, given the threat that you pose, and given that by 2027 Sonwolu is not going to be on the ballot, it will be a completely new candidate, somebody that has never been a governor in Lagos before. So it's going to be
Yes,
2027 is going to be completely open. So that is my fear. I don't
yes,
know whether you would like to speak to that. Thank you.
yes, I do. Um, very, very valid point. In terms of control of the party, I think that even just emerging as a candidate, it was not because I had control of the party. We had very, very well-meaning people in the structure of the party that felt like this young man is the ideal candidate to fly this flag in Lagos State, that's home of the obedient movement, um, birth out of the NSAS struggle, and you know he embodies where we want him to go. So it's not by me being in control or me having the most money to do anything or mobilize or whatever, right? I have a friendly relationship, I have a good relationship with the party structure, and we're going to do a lot of work over the next coming years, a lot of programs and work together so we can share a vision. So that's one. Two, um, any you're completely right. Um, the first, so APC works on different layers simultaneously. The first layer that they will try to do is try to ensure that your party platform is messed up, whether it's by having moves in the party or compromising your chairman or compromising the process by which candidates are selected so that you do not have a party. So that is something that I'm sure they're already starting to put in place. The second thing will be to send people into the party to hold that ticket, right? And work in their interest. So in their interest, it's just very simple things as not coming to a meeting, which will cause people to not be happy, and then everybody starts fighting, and then your house gets divided. Or, compromising the entire process. That is something that's done. They do it in a lot of parties. Um, so, as a seasoned politician, you are not just looking in one direction, right? You're constantly looking at your sales, checking the wind, adjusting your sales. And but the most important thing now is one to win the hearts and minds of people all across the board, down to the grassroots, down to the core APC followers, because they are suffering. Now, once we can do this and do this consistently and then show ourselves to be the alternative, right? Whatever wants to happen, we are going to be okay, right? Whatever scheming they want to do, once we have the people solidly behind us, and another major agenda that we must have, and some people might not be happy to hear this, but it's basic. we cannot go into this next election with a divided opposition. Somehow, everybody's going to have to come together. Because when you add Peter's votes to Atiku's votes, you take out Timbu with over 4 million votes, right? Um, and just having that united front limits a lot of nonsense that we have to deal with. So that's another factor that you are going to be seeing realignments, alignments going into 2027. But your point of trying to ensure that people that have gained a certain level of popularity don't have a platform to contest on is very valid. So one must be what's the word? Nimble. You have to be nimble and just keep building your relationship with your party structure.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Jarvi. I'll just, I think what you meant to say was that if they add the allocated, INEC allocated votes of Peter
Yes.
Obi, yes,
Sorry, I'm sorry. Yes.
yes, they allocated. And I understand. No, me, I understand it.
Plus,
It's once,
plus, if you add the allocated states, it is
mm,
23 states
Yes.
to 12.
I usually give this example that I think what happened in 2023 election, I don't think I can, like if a PhD student was, like if I wanted to do a PhD now, political science, and I wanted to study 2023 election, what am I going to do about River State results? Like I'm always thinking, like what will I do? Like will I take what INEC gave, or will I take what is real? It's INEC created a mess, but like you said, a lot going into election, which is still very far away. A lot needs to be done, but now is how to get the house ready and make sure that these people don't have breathing space, and make sure that they do the
Exactly.
right thing. They also do the right thing, like Caesar was saying earlier. All right, quickly, I'm going to go straight to Sonia. Are you there?
Hi everyone. Can you hear me?
All right, Sonia. After Sonia, I'm going to come to Adi. Yeah,
Uh,
Sonia, go ahead.
Okay. Hi everyone. Hi GRV. Hi everyone.
hello.
Quick one. I just want to say one thing. I feel like we should focus all our energy on Nigeria as opposed to Lagos, because what Tinubu is doing every day, like I'm always in awe every day. The news every day is so heartbreaking. So I feel like we should give Peter Obi all our support and see if we can, if he can take over in the next 4 years, like after Tinubu's first tenure, if Peter Obi can take over, if that's possible. Frankly, I've lost all hope in Nigeria. Like, but I feel like we should focus more on Nigeria as a whole, as opposed to focusing on Lagos. That's just my opinion.
Yeah. And to what I'll say to that, this is also where structure comes in, right? That's why for you to have a political party, you must have offices in a certain number of states in the country. I think we can do both, right? If we have a structure like this shadow cabinet idea that we talked about, you have branches in, you can have regional branches, right? You can have states of interest. So you can look at all the states and say, okay, which are the states that Peter won in the last election, right? That we know we have a standing force there. Then based on that, now set up all the way down from the center Vawulence shadow cabinet center all the way down to the local government in those states, right? And then you can do deep work. So even when we're talking about, okay, let's make a list of all the things that need to be done in every local government, right? There needs to be people in that local government that are going to go around and maybe they'll do a survey or a questionnaire and then ask questions and gather it. It's not going to be me just sitting in my room and thinking, okay, I've been to this place in Lagos Island. The larger people there need fishing nets because they go fishing, and it's not just it cannot just be me. Ideally, you want somebody that is known that will go around, that even get a ballot signature, get an Oba signature to it, so it gives it that sort of substance that this is something that was robust and done by a lot of people. Now, the fact of the matter is this: you need strong people that are going to stand and face INEC in the respective states that are going to now gather those votes to the top. If you don't have those people and INEC writes results, it's a problem. You need people that are going to create the structure and stand. So that if anybody wants to come and do any violence against anybody, there are people that will be on ground to repel them, right? And that's why that structure, there's a man at the top, there's a man in the state, there's a man in local government, there's a man in the ward, or woman. I'm sure you know what I mean. Point of the matter is you have people that come all the way down. And once you can build that efficiently, you can react to things a lot better. So, for instance, you look at what the APC did. First, they had their boys in all the wards. Then they brought in people from other states, Oshun, I think they brought in some people from Ibadan as well, and spread them all across. So we have videos where you see them coming in early in the morning and going to different local governments. But they met people on ground. And that's why they were so effective in the violence that they perpetrated across the entire state, right? Especially for the governorship election, but also in some in instances for the presidential election. Now, you must realize that a bully does not stop until you push that bully back. When a bully does something and gets away with it, they're only going to do worse, right? And in their minds now, they set a precedent that violence, they can do whatever. I mean, I even see people on Twitter talking about, talk all you want, we'll show you again what you showed you before, as though they do not realize that any politician that comes into position through violence will never work in the interest of the people. Because democracy is supposed to keep your leaders in check. Okay, so you're not performing well, you get voted out, you can go and gather yourselves again, come back and do better. So there should be a constant improvement process. And then every human being, they get lackadaisical if they just feel they can always have power. They will beat you to stupor and collect the power. So I say all that to say structure is important.
Yeah.
Focusing on just one person, either at the state or focusing on just one person at the top, it's not smart. There's a reason why political structures are the way they are.
Yeah, totally agree. Totally. I mean, every time we talked about the structure thing, and I was just thinking off my head. I think it's quite, um, it's not even complicated. It's not rocket science. It's just,
Mm.
you know, pretty much plug and play. Once you're able to create the first structure, the rest is plug and play, really. All right, quickly.
I
I'm not
mean,
going to go straight.
if you guys just did like put up a Google Doc Excel sheet, everybody that's on violence space just fills up name, state, local government, ward. Do you have a voter's card? Yes or no? That's already a data set that you can start to work with. What are you interested in, right? And what are you interested in volunteering in? And that way you already have a structure. I mean, I'm sure like almost 1,000 people are listening to this spaces right now.
Yeah, yeah, totally agree. All right, quickly. I'm going to go straight to Adeyemi with this your AVI. It looks like some of. Anyway, go ahead, Adeyemi.
All right. Thank you, well meaning. Thank you, everyone. Uh, so I have a question for His Excellency Gbadebo Revival. Based on concerning Lagos, based on the society I'm in and where I'm from, as far as I'm concerned, there are two arms of government in Lagos State government: the executive and the Togri. Is there any plans at all, Mr. Revival is having in place uh, as an opposition to the case of Togri? I mean, the real thugs. I mean, I'm in Mushin, so I know the real thugs. The real thugs, not this victim, not the victim wandering around the street, looking for opportunity to snatch something and stuff. Those are just wanderers. I mean, the real thugs, the real balies and stuff. Is there anything, Mr. Revival, have in plan? And if there is, I want to know. I don't want you to hear all of them on here, but I just want to hear something from you concerning that. Thank you.
Yeah, Adeyemi, I think I'm going to come back to you on that. I think GRV just dropped.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah, but when it comes up, I'll leave you here on the speaker section. So when it comes up, I'll confirm if he heard you. If not, then probably we'll have to ask it again.
Hi, thank you.
Yeah. So I don't know, Jeremy. I don't know if you can hear me, but I'm trying to look out for. I kind of sense that coming. Anyway, guys, while we wait for GRV to come, I think it has been, you know, what I like violence space a lot of the time is that they are usually different kind of violence spaces. I've seen sometimes I feel like I've seen it all, but it's usually there are spaces where you just listen to and everywhere they hot, everywhere they catch fire. There are days you listen to it, it triggers your thoughts. You are just thinking really deep. There are days you listen to it, it's like, it's like a conference. People just giving brilliant submissions and all that. So I think today is one of those days, like I said earlier. So I know for those of us currently on the speaker section, if you intend to ask Jeremy a question, I'm hoping probably okay. I think I can see him requesting, but don't forget the hashtag Tinubu has failed in security, and don't forget as well on Saturday 6 p.m. Nigeria time we're going to be having um, Dan Bello and other Arewa voices actually on violence space, a special edition, not the normal day edition. So have that on your calendar. Lockdown. Jeremy,
Yes, I got it. He talked
how
about
to
the
use
real
the second
talks.
arm of
Yes, the
government?
second arm of government. Obviously, there's certain things I cannot talk about on a public forum like this. But what I'll say to that is this: the APC have shown us who they are, right? They've shown us who they are. Anybody that is going to go into an election in Lagos State and not plan for what they've shown us that they are is very stupid and a fool, right? So there's a lot of deep work that's going to be done accordingly, and structures built accordingly. And obviously, we've seen also we cannot rely on any facet of government in relation to whether it's the army or the DSS or any of. I mean, some of them were of significant help to us, who will not realize how much danger was averted because of some certain arrangements that were in place. But we need our own ground support and our own team, and that's going to be a major focus towards the next elections, because you see, nobody has monopoly of violence, and I'm not going to go and be campaigning for people to come and vote for me, knowing fully well that some barbarians are going to come and just be hurting and injuring people, using tribe to cover their desperation to hold on to power, so that all their looting that they've done of the Commonwealth for over the last 20 years will not be exposed, and they can continue stealing money. Right? I mean, even when they're talking about they're using tribe as an excuse, there's so many Yoruba people that were hurt just because they looked polished or they looked like they will vote for Labour Party. I know people personally. One was even stabbed. I took a month after the elections going around the entire state, like meeting people and seeing people, taking care of bills and all that. So after experiencing that kind of thing, they've shown us who they are. They've set the precedent. So they say a person that loves peace has to work 2 times as hard as the evil people that are planning. So that is the mindset that I'm in. And at that point, by God's grace, we would have put everything that we need to put in place by God's grace. And we'll appeal to all of them. We'll appeal to them that we don't want to go in this direction, right? Because it will turn to something else. We are all citizens, we are all Nigerians, we all have the right to. And I'm talking passionately and talking like this because I know some of them are listening to this call, so they are going to go and talk to their people. So I'm saying it now. There are a lot of things that you see that happen, and then you look at this turning point. 2020 was a turning point in this country, whether people want to belittle it or not. People that just wanted to vote were exposed to so much violence, and they've changed the dynamic of election. They've changed the dynamic. So we are now operating with a new dynamic, right? And it's going to be a Russia America type of thing. So let there just be peace, let people vote properly. If not, you'll see what will happen. Right. So that's my mindset. And like you said, there are thugs, yes, but there are also other people that want to be in their position. You see all these people there, they've been sitting down, they've been stealing, eating billions. You look at the unions, the people in charge, they've been making billions, send their children to school. MIT self, they've been sending them to very good schools. The young men that are running up and down the street, I will never rise to that level. They don't even have anything like health insurance, education fund, so that at least even if they are running up and down the streets, their children can go to school, so that that next generation will not have to be born in and stay in poverty. Nothing like that. So we're also going to be making our proposals to them. We're going to flatten this whole thing. So even if there's going to be some kind of allocation, it's going to be something that's going to be flattened and shared by the majority of people. It's not be the pyramid structure again, right? But again, I think that the most important thing I want to leave you with is if we are planning strategy, the most important thing is protecting our votes. That's the if I'm going to spend any time, I'll spend 60. If I have 100, just out of 100 minutes, 60 minutes is spent on protecting our vote. The rest structure and politicking for that, because
Yeah,
we buried over 5, 6 people. So I'm not going to do that.
yeah. I mean, what happened in Lagos in the governorship election was, I mean, I really can't even describe it. It's crazy.
Barbaric. That's what I
Anyway,
was.
guys,
Go ahead.
yeah, yeah. So, I mean, we are going to be rounding up this session. Jarvis is a married man. I know Dr. Ify might be waiting currently. Me, Bachelor, and Sarah, Spencer, nothing as you did now. No,
You're
no,
in love
no
with
issue.
Nigeria.
We feel just sleep here. You understand? Sarah, you don't have anywhere you're going. God, what do you have to do? So, anyway, so we're just going to take, some of the people currently in the speaker section. Then, I mean, if you have other submissions regarding what GRB has said or the space, maybe we can have that in a short time, but we'll probably be rounding up, especially the section soon. So let me quickly go to Better Nigeria, then I'll come to Zana, then Onyeka. So each of you just try to make your question as short as possible.
Okay, yeah, thanks so much. I'm audible enough.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, thank you so much. Jarvi, I salute you. Uh,
Thank you.
thank you for speaking. Thank you for coming and honoring us with this time. And I greet everyone. My question will just be straight. The question is, or will I say, yeah, it's a question and it's more of my own concern. Just like your last statement, that what matter most is us protecting our vote, because we know that we won that election, but it was stolen from us. So how do we prevent it so that in the coming election, I don't really care about there's no water in this, but there's one aspect I care about, which is that electronic voting. That I need to say, how do we get our National Assembly to get that thing signed, that there will be no anywhere to rush to again and say, oh, they have to do this. That it must be mandatory that they must transmit that thing. How do we get our National Assemblies into law? The number two thing I want to say is, I posted that in on the comment section, which is this issue of from the demolition of everything that is happening. Because I
Better Nigeria, we are struggling. I think I'm struggling with your network.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
But I think I got his first
You got
point.
some part here. Go
Yeah, I
ahead.
got his first point. I'm going to be very honest with you. Yeah. Um, you know, after the elections, I went all the way to Supreme Court. Um, the money we spent on that whole process would have gotten me a very nice house in Ikoyi. And the truth of the matter is, but then on the other side, I look at it and I look at the injustice that the current governor of Osun State experienced when he went to court the first time, right? That's Adeleke, because he was robbed as well. Everybody knows that he won and then they did all this, their funny thing. But then this time, right, the justice system worked in his favor, right? When the sitting president, right, was there and it's his own cousin that was contesting against. Sometimes you look at Nigeria and you don't know. It's like, should I hope? Should I not hope? Should I just that with INEC, with whether you are able to pass a law for them to transmit or not transmit? I saw it in my front where the machine itself refused to transmit presidential results. The person that was there, you could tell that that person had not been compromised at my polling unit because they kept on trying to transmit, but it was just not letting them to transmit. So what do you do in that situation, even if you have the law on paper? So for me, it's a new. I think that just because of what they've shown us, we should just be prepared for the worst and hope for the best. A situation where nobody is going home. We are all going from the polling units to the collation center, right? And we are camping there for days. If they want to do nonsense, they will come out and see nonsense, right? This whole thing of, oh, people are just going to do what they like, throw our democracy to the dogs, right? Change results. I mean, I saw results where Labour Party scored 60, APC scored maybe 12. And they literally used Tipex and added a 0 to APC. And they submitted it as results. And those INEC staff that did all of that are just walking around freely with no consequence. No consequence. Meanwhile, the people that voted the sensible thing and the people that voted what has created this mess, they are all suffering the same fate. So in what world is that fair? So for me, I feel that and honestly, it goes back to this conversation about structure. Because when you have a solid structure, you're able to achieve this type of thing. You see, when the Ganduje wanted to take Kano, right, and they were feeling very confident because they felt the judiciary is in their hands. But the judiciary also has to look at the consequence of their judgments. Because if Kano goes up in fire, then Nigeria potentially will go up in fire. So in that event, justice must be done. Because the person that's trying to steal that election knows that they did not win. They know, in their heart, they know. Right? But if they feel that, oh, these people just get on with it, they'll just look for the next 4 years. So the next election, with the suffering that we are experiencing in this country, the next election we have to take very, very seriously. We need to be very structured. The people that are organizing this thing must know that there will be consequences if they try to steal the election, if they try to use violence to intimidate the people, if they try to write results. They must know. They must know. They must see our seriousness leading on to it. So that's my own thoughts on it. I mean, yes, we can lobby the Senate and we can lobby the House of Reps and talk about it and use our platforms to amplify it, and that's fine. We can always do that. Not too young to run bill passed in Nigeria based on actions like that. So we can do that. But I don't, the people that we are appealing to, I do not trust their intent for the country, the vision for the country, and even a desire for good for the country. So well, let's see. Let's see. We'll do everything. We'll do everything.
Yeah, yeah, totally agree. But for me, I just think you could use like for me, it's like some kind of hybrid approach where you
Yes,
could
yes,
do
exactly.
this and
Yeah,
also be planning for for eventualities. It's
yes,
very important.
yes.
Yeah, no element of surprise will be allowed
No,
ever again. I
no.
don't going into any election. Nobody should. now we know the court doesn't is not an option. So if you want to win, just win where
You
you
have
are.
to win
If you
on
don't
that
win,
day.
just
Everything that has to be done, you have to do it on that day.
yeah,
That's it.
yeah, it's quite all right. Quickly, I'm just gonna go straight to uh Ozana. I know John is not, but I've been seeing you put out emojis, so I think you're there. So Ozana, are you there? Ozana, are you there? Okay. Well, if Ozana is not there, quick, let me go straight to Oyinka, then I'll come to Polumi.
Well, meaning, I was wondering if you're allergic to my name. Anyways, thank you so much. GRV, a quick one. Now,
Yes,
they
sir.
say that it is food, clothing, and shelter. Okay. And as
Mm,
an architect, let's dig into shelter a little.
mm,
Okay. Recently in the news, Governor Soludo made a proposal. He is saying that, okay, he wants to provide affordable, okay, housing for the masses. And he
mm,
is talking of building vertical.
mm,
Vertical, that is building up, in my view, in
mm-hmm,
my own opinion, in different parts of the world, most times whenever they build vertical, they end up either demolishing or turning the place into a slum because of the
mm,
things involved in maintaining vertical buildings. So one, as an architect, can you tell us about affordable housing and what you think the best way that governments, Lagos state government, Nigerian government, any reasonable government anywhere in this country, how should they approach the issue of affordable housing? That is one.
all
Sorry,
right.
the last question, because I know we have limited time. How do you, okay, let me put it this way. If what would you have done differently if you were the governor of Lagos? Okay, in terms of would you have been a servant leader, and what would you have done different? Thank you.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much. So your first question, um, building up vertical construction usually tends to be the best way to achieve affordable housing. This is just typical architecture construction kind of ideas. That's why you always see these tall buildings, whether in the projects in America or in France, in places like Lyon, I believe, and just all over the council estates in England. So you see there are 5, 6, 7 floors, because by the time you got into the third, fourth floor, you start to get economies of scale. You start to really get value for just raw construction. The problem is that when you build vertically and it's just a lift shaft connecting spaces, then you start to have this potential for creating a ghetto, especially if you have a situation where you are cramming a lot of people that don't have the opportunity to make a living, in that environment. So you start to get a lot of drugs, a lot of prostitution. I mean, there are famous towers like this that are in South Africa and Johannesburg that even they will say Nigerians have taken over the entire thing, and it's a home of a lot of crime, right? So that's a major problem. The name will come to me hopefully before I finish. But there are creative ways by which you can do buildings that are vertical, that are affordable, but also create a quality living experience. So, for instance, staggering floors and creating like atriums, trees in the middle of the tower, having places where children can come and play right in the middle of it. Creating places where people can go to the gym, people can read, people can, you know, reach into themselves and become better. So that betterment factor, the quality of life should be factored in. So it's not just my apartment and a space. No, throughout the building, you don't have to go out of the building. Throughout the building, there are places for engagement, for upliftment, and for a decent quality of life. Because sometimes people treat things as they see it. right? That's why when you go to the rich parts of England, you see there's a park, there's a garden, there are amenities, there are facilities, and all these things come combined as what we call shelter, not necessarily housing. So that's one that's one solution. Then there are also other peculiarities. Like for instance, a place like Lagos where, at least in Lagos Central, you don't have as much land. But then, Lagos West, your job Badagry axis, there's still quite a bit of land. Lagos East, the Ekpe Ikorodu axis, there's still quite a bit of land. So if you build horizontally and you do bungalows or two floors, like you look at the Jaconde estates that I was able to do so many of in 4.5 years, you see the potential there. And you use it to open up places like Ojo, and even opening up parts of the island and Lekki. But I think the 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 main thing that we will say in relation to do you build vertically or horizontally depends on how much land space you have, right? And also depends on how many people you want to house. Um, in terms of affordable housing, in terms of price, I think another major factor is the accessibility. Because governors talk about affordable housing, then you hear you have to pay a down payment of 12 or 13 or 14 million. Now, a young professional might have access to that money or might be able to get that money from his office or something. But majority of Nigerians don't have up to 12 billion sitting down together that they can gather. So there are two concepts that one must start to think about. One, normalizing the idea of renting a house through a lifetime. You see, everybody in Nigeria wants to own their house. They want to own their house, but it's not realistic, right? Not everybody is going to own a house. But is there a system that allows you, just the way you progress through primary school to secondary school, to say, okay, you're a citizen and you're paying this amount of money, right? This is how much you have. Okay, this is the kind of space you can have. As you're earning more, you can increase this space. And it's a well-run program, right? And so it's a transitioning to spaces, and it's not so much about, oh, I have to gather this money to buy a house, especially when we don't have mortgages that are accessible to people. That's one. You might have seen how people were under the bridge and were paying rent to somebody that we still don't know, 250,000 naira a year, right? So one would expect that the government would take them and put them in a space where you're paying 250,000. Okay, pay that to us, the government, and we'll create a space for you, right? So for me, thinking about
Yeah.
affordability and accessibility, it's one type of spaces that we're creating. People don't have to have 3-bedroom
Hmm.
apartments, 2-bedroom apartments, right? We should just create enough shelter space for people to be able to sleep, do their work, have a family. But then around that entire space, you have good quality schools, good medical systems, good medical services, access to jobs, right? Because we've incentivized companies to come into that area and set up, right? So that's
Yeah.
that's really where we're going to. In relation
Yeah.
to what I would have done different, I don't even think it's a question whether I'd have been a servant leader or not. A servant leader, for me, there's no option because I get my power from the people. I don't have 500 billion naira to buy votes. So it's only by engaging with people, sitting down on a
Hmm.
space like this and talking, people questioning me, I'm answering, people insulting me, I'm smiling, whatever it is, it's people that are going to push me into this position. So in that position, I
Right.
must serve those people because if I don't, they'll kick me out. Right. And besides, I mean, this to serve. I feel that if you are able to create a policy and a state that enlifts and gives people a better quality of life. I mean, when you look at the Chinese leaders or you look at the leader of Dubai, UAE, and he's talking about how many people is lifted out of poverty. That's a flex. That's a flex. That's greatness. It's like back then, before in Europe, in England, when you go to a lord's territory and you see the quality of life of his people, that is his flex. It's not his house. It's not how his family is living. It's look at my people. It's like when Queen Sheba, even in the Bible, Queen Sheba visited, I believe it was King Solomon's court or was it David's court? I think one of them. I think it was Solomon's court. And when she went back to,
Yeah, King Solomon.
yeah, King Solomon, when she went back to her court, and then there are all these writings, Menelik and all of that, she spoke so much about the grandness of David's or Solomon's court, but more about the quality of life of his people, and his people were happy. And in the Bible, there's that quote that says, "When the righteous rule, the people rejoice." Right. So,
Yep.
so for me, it's servant leadership is the only way, because then you have leaders that are accountable. You have leaders that are afraid of stealing, right? That's the way this country can
Yeah.
move forward. If we continue to avoid all these organs that just come in, they buy their way in, they muscle their way in, they're not going to be accountable. They're going to be setting their children up to take over and continue their looting. I mean, you have a situation where Sheikh Tinubu is now on the board that's partly also responsible for this coastal road, and we are looking at trillions of naira that won't spend on it without any competitive bidding. We don't know the true value
Mhm.
of the project. And you just see all of them setting up their progeny to carry on this milking of our commonwealth.
Yeah. Yeah.
So servant
I totally,
leadership is the way forward. It's the way forward.
yeah, I totally agree with you, Jeremy. I mean, you're literally preaching to the choir. Yeah. I was even going to say when he asked that question that I mean that's there was one of my Kenyan friend. I would say is that even a question? So I
No, but it's
was
good.
going to
It's
say
good to
it's obvious.
it's good to articulate
Yeah,
as
yeah, yeah.
well.
Totally. He gave the opportunity to articulate this point. All right, was that Tolunyan, I'll come to you. Hosanna, are you ready to shout hallelujah?
Hallelujah.
Go ahead.
Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for this opportunity. Thank you very much. Ought to be Excellency GRV. Thanks for coming. I can't even pretend that I
Thank
don't
you.
see Dr. Ife here. So thank you, Dr. Ife. Thank you, everyone. Emma. Thanks, everyone. So I want to be very brief, and there's just one thing I want to talk about, and that is solution.
Okay.
The problem always stares at you. So problems stare at you. And that's why we must try not to focus on the problem, but rather the solutions. We've
Yeah.
talked, we've had a great conversation today, and a lot of the challenges faced with this organization. I had some questions, but I'll put that aside. A lot of the challenges faced by obedience have been articulated. And I had one solution, which is put up an Excel, get the names of everyone on the space, let everyone on the space get their names in, their location, and where they would like to serve, or if they would like to serve, and in what capacity they would like to serve. I heard that, but I'm not sure if there is an owner of that action. I don't know if there's an owner of that action. So if an owner wasn't mentioned, can we focus on the solution? Can we get someone become the owner of that action so that we are and can we have a timeline within which that should be done? Because we can spend all our time here in space. For me, I'm quite new in the spaces. I've actually been on the fields and the roads, and I've always had Twitter, but I've not been active. And I'm trying to, come online and get active online and, you know, give as much as you can online as well. But it will be unhealthy for us to spend our time on spaces without achieving structure. Albeit, I'll recommend an invisible structure because there is an advantage in being headless. But regardless of how headless you think certain movements are, there's always, for those movements to remain alive, there's always a hidden structure. So what are we going to do about this structure? Yeah, that's where
Yeah,
yield the mic. Thank you.
yeah. Thank you very much, Madam Zana. I think your that question is pretty much not just to GRV, but to. Um, but I'm just going to say this. I know you said you just been, a little bit on spaces recently. Last time we had Peter Obi on space, he had promised, assured us obedience now that, he was going to work or is working on his structure and all that. And I totally agree with you. It's very important when you say things and there's nobody to action it, it's as good as you say something in the air. So I want to believe that's been, not I want to believe, I know actually that that's been worked on to see how best to structure the movement and taking into cognizance what Jarvi also said, because Jarvi talked about, um, he called it shadow cabinet. I remember that word because it's quite important to also have that aspect of it as well. So um, thank you very much, Zaina. All right, I don't know. I'm trying to save Jarvi some time as well. So I'll just go straight to Polonium. After which I'll come to Mr. Tony. Will ever best. Now, general submission you want to give. So,
Thank you, Wami Nigerian. I don't think there's any advantage in being headless. I don't think there's an advantage in it. Calling for shadow government, that's something I had spoken about a year ago, which I felt that after the elections, that is what we should go straight into. Jerry, good evening. I have a few couple of questions, but it's more like it's all encapsulated. And it's about your person. So I'll just go into it.
Okay, go
What's
ahead.
your, yeah, good evening. Thank you for all the things you're doing in Lagos and for the country.
Thank
What
you.
have you reviewed? Have you reviewed, have you personally reviewed the 2023 elections? And where did we get it right or wrong in Lagos and across Nigeria? What are the lessons that you have learned? And in your opinion, where and what should we have done? Could we have done better?
Okay.
If if not, sorry, just one. If we have an elections next month, the same race, and you are in as the governor of governorship candidate, what would you have done differently? My final question: would you embrace an opportunity to work with Jandor to strengthen the opposition in Lagos? Thank you. I yield.
Okay. Yeah, that's a very packed set of questions. Okay, so let me share some. Yes, definitely. I spent while we're going to Supreme Court. First of all, to put your case together, you need to look through the results. You need to interview witnesses. You need to get first-hand accounts of what happened in different local governments to be able to build your case. And then looking at the case files and all the evidence as you go from the High Court and make your case at the Appeal Court and then Supreme Court. So that gave me an opportunity to be able to look at it at that level. So, a couple of things. One, and also, I don't want to come across as too critical because we also have to understand that I say to people that what we achieved, at least in Lagos and truly across Nigeria, was like having a baby jumping a fence in literal 7 days. Like you gave birth to a baby, and by the seventh day, that baby was climbing over the fence. Right? It's not done. What happened in 2023 has I don't know. I don't know of any antecedents. Right? Okay, so that's the first thing. Those are the flaws. Now, criticism. Based on that reality, we did not have enough time to build structures. I know the chant was we are the structure and we don't need structure, but I think that to an extent we need to have structure. We need to have structure that's going to be liaising with key functionaries in that system, right? So that certain things will not be done. Also, please understand that I'm limited with the amount of things I can actually say on a platform like this. So I'll just try and code it so you can read meaning to what I'm trying to say. So you need a group of people that are going to be fully assigned, right? And that's their sole responsibility to key members in this system, right? Whether it's a electoral system, the INEC, and all that, you need people that are going to be assigned to that, and that is their role from the ward level, right? That is all that they are doing. So that's a structure, right? We had a situation where, if not for obedience, there were a lot of polling units where there were no agents, right? There were a lot of polling units where there were no agents. And but obedience stepped in and did the work of being an agent, right? So we need that agent structure, we need that canvasser structure. What we had going for us was the goodwill, tremendous goodwill. So we not need to do the hard work that most parties need to do, which is go and canvass and bring people out of their house, come and vote. But imagine we had that plus the goodwill, would have got a lot more people to come out. So that's another thing. A major lesson is do not build your security plans around the army, navy, or police or DSS if you are not in a position of power. Because at any point they can be giving new orders and that can just ruin your entire thing. Instead, build your security plans from a community level. Ensure that they understand what is at stake. Ensure that you have incentivized them, or at least they know what potentially might be up, um, might be to their benefit, right? And build this over a period of time and really spend a lot of time literally organizing that. The way a general will spend time organizing his battalions, and you need to spend a lot of time, especially when you are dealing with barbarians and animals that will force themselves on people regardless of what happens, right? So they've shown us who they are. Obviously, I do not believe that anybody in Nigeria could predict the extent. I mean, we've seen I ran for Senate in PDP, Lagos West, and there you've seen pockets of violence and skirmishes in particular local government. Like Oshodi Solo is standard, you always have things like that, or some small parts of Amuwo, or some parts of Ojo. But this was statewide, Showolu, Koshope, places that you also you need to have that, and you need to really, really spend a lot of energy on building that because it's not something that you can just assemble overnight. It's something that you've built over a period of years. Trust has been built into that system. So that's extremely important. And it's not something we could have done because, I mean, the whole Labour Party movement was in a lifespan of just under a year. Okay, so there's that. Um, and then also, I feel that for me personally, as a politician, I do not feel that I did enough with connecting to as many communities as I ought to have, right? The different groups, and that's what I mean. Obviously, you get stronger, you get more popular, you get to know more and more people as you go on this journey. But I feel that like now, if I was to do election now, I know a lot more. I've engaged a lot more in this period after the elections. There are key target groups, just the way you see His Excellency Peter will be moving all across the north and meeting certain people, making impact here and there. So I'm sure that if elections were held tomorrow, you see improved numbers in places that people have been able to engage with it. Right. So it's a continuous thing. So we cannot go into the shadows and keep quiet. We have to continue reaching out because when people don't know you, it's easy for some nuisance to just tell a lie about you, regardless of how ridiculous the lie is, right? And they don't know you, they know you from afar. So that lie can stick. But if they've known you close up, they've seen you in different places, they've had conversations with you, when they come and lie some stupid lies, then they'll tell them to shut up, right? So there's that.
Yeah.
And then also the question about Jando. You see, the Jando is not PDP. I think it's very important that people understand this concept. Jando came from the APC. Um, in the PDP, up to now, people are still talking about him not paying agents their money. He's taking most of the leaders and the entire party structure to court, right? Um, so if you're talking about building an alliance with the PDP, it's not Jando I'm going to talk to. PDP is a party that has leaders. When a leader is somebody that has been in a position of power, is now being of influence in a local government or in a central district, and plays a part in the organization. So, for instance, this leader is one that might pick up the rent for the party secretariat at Kushofe. This person might be the leader that is looking after the state structure or the local government structure in his local government, picking up bills and taking responsibility. So those are the people uh, that you will go and speak to. They've been at this for a very long time, for 20 years.
Yeah.
So those
Yeah.
are the people that one will go and reach if you want to, build that kind of collaboration. Not Jando.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Totally agree with you. I think you deal with the structure, not individuals.
yeah.
Uh, yeah. So next.
Well, I really appreciate the opportunity to speak again on the violence space. And GRV, it's a pleasure to have you on this platform.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's not something we experience every day, and it's always really great to have someone like you who ran on the platform of Labour Party on behalf of the obedient movement as well,
Yeah,
running for that office. It's really beautiful. Now,
thank you.
quickly to my question in the interest of time. You spoke so eloquently about putting infrastructure, or rather, sorry, putting a framework in place to protect the vote moving forward. Now, I do believe that this is something not peculiar to Lagos alone, but to Nigeria at large. But since Lagos is the subject matter right now, let's focus on that. So, how far are you willing to go in 2027 to protect the vote? Because the reason I'm asking is because we all know what happened in 2023, both at the governorship level and the presidential, of course. And no one really wants that to happen again. And considering the fact that we all know the state of the nation today, it will require courageous individuals to do the necessary, right, to rescue and put us on the right path again. So, because whatever you say is going to help the obedient family to define a path forward. And the reason I'm saying this is because you are considered a leader right now within that movement based on everything you said tonight and what we have known you to stand for over time. So please give me and us, if I may say that, a sense of how far you're willing to go to fight to set Lagos
Okay.
back onto the right path and Nigeria at
Yes.
large. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, so let me start from this position. You see, what they tried to do first, right? Obviously, they tried to use bigotry and tribalism to cover. It was if you don't like Badibo because his mother is Igbo or whatever else, Pusho Doati was there that speaks Yoruba. Jandon even was there, speaks Yoruba, and whatever else that they. Why didn't they let people vote for those people? Why were they beating everybody that was not voting for APC? Right? So really, when you see through it, you just see a group of people that are desperate to hold on to power and will go to any length. Now, that's the context for what I'm going to say now. You see, after that election, I took out 1 month, like I said, to visit as many people that were hurt, that at least I had knowledge of, help settle bills, even if you're not settling bills, just to go and spend time with them, show them that you're there for them, show them that they're not alone. That changed me. I'm not the same Gbadebo before the election. After that, I went to Ojo Navy Hospital. I saw 20 people that had these local gun bullets in their body, right? I know people that died that I sent money for their burial. So they have showed us who they are, and they started it. They started it. So, like, the only analogy that I can give, because I'm sure someone is recording this thing tomorrow now, they'll now make it trend, is America and Russia, right? You get to a point where you can mutually destroy each other. So, we are just going to do the right thing and be peaceful. That is where we are trying to get to. It's really that simple, because nobody should have monopoly of violence. And it's just like, who are you? Who are you to say that other people cannot vote? Based on what? Like, who are you? You know? And the more you think about it, what they really wanted was for our spirit to be broken. And if you look at the psyops that they tried to do after the elections, they tried to push this narrative that, oh, Gbadebo was rejected, as though it was just a regular election, as though they not do Oro during the day, as though they not use violence. They just tried to do so much. So I'm sure in their head they're thinking, how is this guy still, like, why is he still here? Why is he not quiet? Right? They reached me so many times about collecting money, withdrawing my case. None of that. Right? Because the blood of the people that you buried is going to count against you. You go and do that kind of nonsense. Right? So to answer your question in in the most civil way that I can, I am of the opinion now that we do not get justice is not being served, right? INEC is compromised, right? I've seen it. I have the evidence. If anybody has problems with that, I can put all the information out. So whatever needs to be done for our votes to count. I'm not even talking about cheating or rigging or anything. I just want my votes to count. That's all. Anything that's going to stop my votes from counting, there's a problem, and that problem will be dealt with. It's just that simple. So whatever has to happen for my votes to count is going to happen. That's the best answer I can give. And the truth of the matter
Yeah,
is that at the end of the day, when a bully, and I said this earlier, a bully does not stop. All these people, I've seen people online, they are tweeting, they take pride in it. You broke somebody's head, and a man that is in his 50s, 60s, you break his leg, he cannot walk, and you take pride in it, you are boastful of it, because you caught people off guard. Now, if people fought back and blood spilled in Lagos State that could potentially spark a civil war, would they be laughing that people died just because they want to vote? If you have a leader that is doing well, you should not have to resort to violence to win an election. Look at Sheyi Makinde in Ibadan now. Did he have to go and beat or fight anybody to get his second term? There are many governors that the same thing applied. But when you are not doing well, you are stealing people's money to use it to buy expensive watches for yourself, giving money to Alpha Beta and funding a presidential campaign, leaving people with dejected roads, poor schools, and all of that, and you still want to.
I don't know if you wanted to speak to GRV or you wanted to speak to the topic. So please, quickly, 1 or 2 minutes. And guys, why we are taking like this last set of submissions, let's try to engage the hashtag. Remember on Saturday's space as well by 6 p.m. Nigeria time. Unique Uche.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Wayne. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Emir Saddam, Bolanle, and everybody. Sarah, thank you. I just want to say that we just have to do all we can, in any way we can, to support. I was part of the team as a volunteer for the GRV medical outreach on Saturday in Ibrahim. Someone called me a night before that Boris gave them my contact to reach, and I had to rally the guys and see how we can mobilize and get a place for them. And inside the rain, we went through the community there, spoke to the Hausa community, people around the end, and people came out. The truth is that the insurance card they gave worked, and all that is required now is more publicity so that the obedient team in the community and in Lagos will be part of it. You don't know how far that thing went. A day, I think, was it on Tuesday? I went to that community again to just synthesize. They were asking us, when are they coming again? And that's the key. So there has to be tangible and
we have tried today. We have pushed as much as possible. I think we had a wonderful conversation with GRV. Once in a while, it's good to have these voices come up here and